Before we get into the video today, I just want to give a quick shout out to one of our sponsors, Gnostic TV. Gnostic TV is ancient wisdom reimagined. This is a Netflix for those who are spiritually curious and want a place to go where there is no censorship. I personally am doing a whole series on Gnostic TV called The Esoteric Explorer, where I am providing exclusive content to Gnostic. Gnostic TV is a host to all sorts of different content creators, many of whom are your old favorites. If you would like to check out Gnostic TV, there is a link down in the description box below. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Esoteric Atlanta. Of course, my name is Bryce. Happy Labor Day to all of the Americans in any other country that celebrates a holiday on this Monday. I'm working today, but I hope that everybody else is enjoying some much needed time off, especially if your kids are getting ready to go back to school, all that kind of stuff. But nonetheless, I thought that I would do a quick video today. I don't know how quick this is going to be, but nonetheless, this is not going to be a video that's super prepared like most of my videos. And the thing is this topic I want to start with before we get into like channel updates and stuff is a topic that I have kept my eye on for years now. And every time I think I'm going to find enough information to actually do a deep dive, I hit a wall. Now, I could do a deep dive just on everybody's stories, like Reddit stories around this phenomenon, and I don't mind doing that. But the problem is, I also like to be able to back other people's stories with evidence and facts. Now, for me, most of these stories, I believe them. Like as Bryce, I believe these people. But as a researcher, especially somebody who presents her findings on a platform, I want to be able to show evidence to back these stories up. And that I cannot do. Most of the pictures we have, I think, are like photoshopped pictures anyway. But again, I do believe that this phenomenon is actually happening. And I do believe a lot of these stories with people who have experienced this phenomenon. And there's so many different theories out there as to what is actually going on. And that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about basically with this conversation, because it's not a deep dive, it's a conversation. And this has to do with these random staircases that are appearing deep in the woods, especially places like Appalachia. You guys know I have spoken a lot about Appalachia, especially over on Gnostic TV. I live at the tail end of Appalachia, and that is just, if you don't believe in the paranormal, then go spend a week deep in Appalachia. There are just things that happen in the Appalachian Mountains that are not explainable. And it's interesting because I was listening and trying to find information on this topic. I ran across a park ranger on TikTok. And unfortunately, I've lost the TikTok. I don't know who this person is. So to try to find his account would be really hard for me. But basically, what this guy was saying as a park ranger is that, yeah, these stairs are appearing in our national parks, in our national forest. And not only that, but there's other things that are happening in our national forest as well. And we know that, like we know about the feral people, we know about the skinwalkers. If you're new here, I'll place those videos down below. But something he said that I found really interesting is that a lot of times what will happen is that an animal will show up in these national parks that's not from this area of the world. Like we might all of a sudden have an elephant show up in a national park here in America, you know, and so I'm using elephant as an example. I don't think it's ever been an animal as big as an elephant, but it's definitely animal species that are not known to be here on this continent. And so basically this park ranger said what they've been told to tell people when this happens is that there is an exotic animal breeder nearby and one of the animals just got out. Now, I know this does happen. We see this a lot with chimpanzees, that sometimes There are exotic, two things can be true, right? There are exotic animal breeders out there. Think about Tiger King. That sometimes this does happen where some animals will get out of their captivity. However, I also think, as this park ranger says, most of the time when these random exotic animals show up, it's not from a breeder. They're just told to tell people that. And so he's like, and I don't know where they're coming from. And he brought that in with the stairs in the parks as well, that yes, there are staircases that are appearing deep in these parks. So when I say deep in the park, I'm not talking about 10 feet off of the trail. I'm talking about deep, deep, deep off the trail. Now, a lot of people speculate that these staircases could be portals to another dimension. Some people speculate that they're nothing but just remnants of an old building that used to be there that we've just, because it's so deep in the park, we haven't seen it in a while. And I have my own thoughts and my own opinions on this. Now, the common denominator for people is when they run across these stairs is that they feel a sense of dread. They feel very nauseated. On top of that, they still feel the desire to get on the stairs. So there's definitely some weird energy surrounding these stairs. Now, again, as I said with the exotic animals, I'm going to say it here too. Two things can be true. Some of these stairs, especially the ones that look really, really old, could in fact be stairs from an old civilization. We know our history is not correct. We know that they are, especially here in the Southeast, in Cherokee land, there was the Moon-Eyed people first. So some of these things could literally just be that. Could be that there are parts of Appalachia, parts of these national forests that we have not been in for a very, very, very long time. And maybe even some of these national parks that people go to occasionally, maybe these stairs have been covered by debris, but over time the debris moves away and so it reveals old stairs. Yes, absolutely, that could be the case. But then we also have these staircases that don't appear to be old at all. They actually appear to be pretty modern, and they're showing up in the middle of Appalachia, which obviously those aren't from any old buildings. Now, I don't necessarily believe that they are portals for other entities to come through, which I know is the belief for a lot of people. The reason why I don't believe that is because I am, again, a student of the law of one. And any entity in a higher density than third density, which is what we are in, it's going to be lighter for them. So their bodies are lighter. We're in a very heavy density. And so for them to be able to interchange, dimensionally interchange, they just interdimensionally change, right? Now they do have to do certain substances to hold the density if they want to come through, like eating gold is one thing. That's why they love the gold, or eating drinking the substance, the red substance that's in our bodies. That's another way that they hold the density to come through to our dimension. So they don't need things like magical stairs, okay? What I think these stairs that are not a part of a civilization past, I think that they are it's kind of like bait, because it's so random and it sticks out like a sore thumb that it lures people in, even if they feel the negative energy and they feel nauseous, they're lured in because it's so out of place. And we have this natural curiosity as human beings. And I think that the stairs then trap people, because even though some people, a lot of the stories on Reddit, they've survived these stairs, a lot of people also believe these stairs are part of the reason why we have so many missing people in national parks. Now, I think there's multiple reasons why we have missing people in national parks. I think it has a lot to do with the feral people. I think it has a lot to do with pickups, alien pickups. I'm trying to be careful how I say this. And I do think some cases of people missing in parks are literally them getting lost and succumbing to the elements. That there's nothing paranormal about it. They just got lost. These are no two stories are going to be the same, right? So I want the people in the back to hear me when I say that, because I know people like to twist words. I acknowledge, yes, a lot of the missing 411, a lot of the missing people in the parks probably are missing from nefarious purposes. They were probably abducted or taken by the feral people, but there's probably a percentage of those missing people that literally human error. Okay, so again, two things can be true, and we got to stop painting things black and white. That's another video I'm going to do later this week, is the painting of things black and white, which is a mental disorder. So we can't say that every single person that goes missing in a park, it's because of something nefarious. No, we also can't say that every person goes missing in a park because of human error. There's a lot of options here. And I think, again, the same thing is with these stairs. There's a lot of possibilities, and I don't think each staircase has the same purpose, if that makes sense. I think they lure, I think the ones that are put there, like the modern looking ones that look so out of place, are put there to lure people in so their curiosity will take over them. And maybe if they get on the stairs, that makes it easier for them to be taken. And I don't think this is done by the feral people, because I don't think the feral people think this way. I think this is done by 4D negatives. All right. But I also think some of the stairs that are found that are old looking probably come from civilizations lost, and they're nothing to do with any type of like baiting people or any type of paranormal stuff. I think they are literally just evidence of a civilization lost. I also have a third theory. And this third theory to me might be a little bit more abstract. But I think some of these staircases are also appearing because of timeline bleeds. I think different timelines are bleeding together. You know, we've talked about different timelines, like the man from Turin. I'll put those videos down in the description box below there from when I first opened this channel. And so some of these modern stairs probably are not, obviously, from civilizations forgotten, but they might be a bleed from another timeline happening at the same time, if that makes sense. And then some of them could be, again, bait to get people to come so they can take them, if that makes sense. So I think three things are going on. Three things are going on. There are some that are historically just there from a civilization past. I think there are some that are coming through a timeline bleed, which in that way, that's not nefarious. And it could be, if it's a timeline bleed, it could be someone gets on those stairs and they get pulled into the other timeline. That could be an option too. So it's like an accident. It's not like some being is trying to harvest a person. They just accidentally slipped into, I mean, again, the man from Turin. This happens sometimes. But the third option to me is the nefarious one. So we've got two options, in my opinion, and I think all three are happening. I think all three options are happening. I think simultaneously. Two of them are not nefarious. One is. And I think that the people that feel nauseous when they see the stairs are the ones that are picking up on the fact that this is a bait from a dark force trying to harvest that human, if that makes sense. All right. And I do not believe, I'm going to reiterate this is not a portal for beings higher than us. They would not use that. They would ingest gold or in us in order to bring that density into their body. So remember, if they're at a lighter density, they're going to have to anchor in to drop down into our density. And so they have to ingest things, not hold on to things. Okay. So if these stairs, the nefarious stairs, are, in my opinion, are created to bait us, not for them, but for us, to bait us. They don't need a bait. They just need to eat something. Okay, does that make sense? Anyway, I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. Please be careful with the wording that you use on this platform when discussing these more nefarious conspiracies. You guys know why. Hate the game, not the player. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And yeah, let's move on now to some channel updates. So as you guys might know, I have recently opened up a TikTok. I'm still trying to figure out how to work it. Let me show you guys. But I would love it if you guys would follow me over on TikTok. What I'm going to be doing, I've already gone through. I'm going to go back. I've done a lot on the Borgias. I've done one on Black Eyed Kids. I did one here on Catherine de Medici and her hoo-ha and the cow poo. I'm going to go back through some of my old videos and make little shorts for TikTok. But I will also use this for upcoming videos as well. So I'm going to make one for this video with the stairs. I'm going to make one for, by the time you're watching this, I've probably already created the Jesse James, because Jesse James Part 2 released this morning. And so I would love it if I have not hooked my YouTube channel up to it yet. I'm still just trying to take it one step at a time because I'm old. I'm 41, so I'm still trying to learn this. So I'd love it if you guys would follow me over on TikTok, the Tiki Talkies. And which brings me to seeing that these are only 3 minutes. These are super short clips of deeper topics. Which brings me to something else I'm going to start doing on my channel, you guys, because, you know, I talked about this with Tamara last week when we did the astrology reading. And I know that for people who don't have YouTube channels, I know that it's really hard to understand like how much work goes into these channels. People do such a good job on YouTube, and when you look at these videos that are clean and they're just really well put together. That video wasn't just popped up out of nowhere. That content creator spent hours, days, weeks creating that video. And again, I'm going to explain this so you guys understand this a little bit more where I'm going with this for you guys. So if I have an hour video that I've shot, an hour deep dive, after I film it, I've got to then edit it. All right. And if you have 60 minutes worth of footage, if you want your final product to be 60 minutes, 10 minutes of editing takes about an hour. So a 60-minute deep dive takes about, generally, 6 hours of editing, almost a whole day. Now, before you even get to the filming process or the editing process, you have to do the research. You have to deep dive. That can take anywhere from a day, depending on the topic, to some topics I've covered, I've been looking at for years now. Okay. When you're doing the research, you're collecting information, and that takes, I mean, it takes a long time. I compare and contrast information. I look through lawsuits. I look through census. I do so much stuff to try to find the most accurate information as possible, especially since we know a lot of information we get isn't accurate. And then after I've collected all the information that I want, in order to tell the story, I then have to figure out how I'm going to tell the story. How am I going to storyboard this? I have a way in which I want to tell this story, right? And so I have to filter through the information that I have in order to figure out what section I'm going to tell first, the order we're going to go, and looking at the information in order to keep it entertaining, right? And so that takes a while. That takes a while to do. So one deep dive video takes hours upon hours upon hours, if not weeks, if not months, if not years to put together. All right. So with that being said, that is true, not just for me, not just for people in my genre, but for people all over YouTube. All right. It's a full-time job. It is a literal full-time job. Unless all you're doing is interviewing people, which is super easy. And I mean, it does take energy, but it's a lot less energy than doing your own stuff, which is something I pride myself on. I always mainly I do interviews, but I also do my own stuff too. You're looking at a lot of labor. And so what kind of has been bothering me is I've been getting some comments lately that just sound extremely entitled and extremely egotistical and narcissistic. You guys know that we are under a lot of scrutiny on this particular platform. And there's nothing that I can do about that. Do I agree with the scrutiny? No. But do I own the platform? Also no. So this is a private company, and even though I think people should be able to say what they want to say, it's owned by a private company and they can make the rules. And so there are certain things that I cannot talk about on my channel. Now, sometimes myself and other people can skirt around parts of the story, and it's just enough where it's good for this platform. But there's certain parts of the story we can't skirt around. We're going to have to look at in a very deep way. And so for that, we have it on our backup. We'll have like Rumble or BitChute, you know. Now, with that being said, once again, it is difficult to put one video up. It's doubly difficult to put two up, meaning putting one up on the backup platform and one up on this platform to tell you where it is on the backup platform. All right. I have been getting comments where people have been upset because they can't be bothered to go into the description box and hit a link that I've provided for them. I am just gobsmacked. I've also gotten comments where I should just throw caution to the wind and just say the things on my channel and just, no. If you're telling me to do that, first of all, screw you. That's not cool. We work very, 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 very hard to maintain our channels. And my channel is my work. This is my work. This is my labor. And if I were just to throw caution to the wind and say the things, I would lose my channel. And that is a form of martyrdom. Martyrdom is of the darkness. It's not of the light. I need to protect my work, and I cannot control the rules of the game. Nobody on YouTube can. We all have to play under the same rules. Now, with that being said, there are exceptions. If you are registered as a news affiliate, you can say whatever you want. I'm not a news affiliate, nor would I register myself as a news affiliate, because then there's other stresses you have to be under. So if you're on a channel and people are saying the words and they're not facing the consequences that we are, it's because they're registered as a news affiliate. Okay? So please, I'm just asking, not just for my sake, but for everybody who's on YouTube's sake, everyone, all across the board, from the drama channels to art, to the deep dive channels, to the makeup channels, just be mindful that we have not created these rules. But the beautiful thing about this platform, the silver lining of this platform, is that it gives us an opportunity to put our work out there, which leads us to more work possibilities. And we all need to work. We all have to pay the bills. And so if you are that entitled that you think I or anybody else on YouTube should just sacrifice ourselves and fall on the sword because you can't be bothered to literally click a link, then my advice to you is get off of YouTube for a while and do some self-reflection. I'm not going to sacrifice my work to appease your laziness. With that being said, I have started to do, what I'm going to start doing, guys, is I'm going to start doing long form and short form. So you'll see this first tomorrow. I have a video dropping tomorrow morning, Tuesday the 3rd at 10 a.m. And this is going to be going over the occult and the witch wars of the 1970s from the book Dead Names, about the Necronomicon, because I find this time period in the 70s, the 1970s in New York City to be super fascinating. So I have an hour-and-a-half interview that I've done on this subject. And that hour-and-a-half interview, that 90-minute interview, is going to be the long form, and that is on Rumble. But at the same time, I'm going to have a short form. So what I've done is I've gone through the whole conversation, and I've cut pieces out that tell the story, have the information, but I've cut out the conversations that are a little too dicey for YouTube to kind of give you a thorough idea of what this is. And that's like 20 to 30 minutes, and that's going to be on YouTube. So going forward, if I have a subject that's super potent, I'm going to do that. I'm going to have a short form and a long form. So if you see that going forward, if you're on YouTube and you see a video pop up and in brackets it says short form, know that's the short form of a longer interview. And you can watch both if you want. If you only have like 30 minutes, maybe the short term is good for you. But if you have an hour-and-a-half, 2 hours, go into the description box, find the link, or just go over to Rumble, to my channel on Rumble, and find, it'll say long form. So it'll be the same title, and it'll say long form on Rumble, short form on YouTube, long form on Rumble. Does that make sense? Now, this is not going to happen with every single video, because some videos I don't need to do that, right? Some videos I can just leave as they are, right? So, but the videos where I need to like kind of monitor because of the rules of YouTube, you will see that going forward. So again, if you see short form in the title of a YouTube video, you know there's a longer one over on Rumble, okay? And so again, if you having to go into the description box and click the link to the long form, if you have a problem with that, again, that is your problem. That is your laziness. It is not mine. And please don't be nasty to content creators and try to tell them that they should just sacrifice their hard work, their years of hard labor to entertain you. but don't tell them to sacrifice that by just being haphazard with their channel. That's so nasty and cruel. Again, we can't change the rules of this platform. Now, I will also say, and well, hold on, before I get into the next point, I also want to point out that even with like sponsorships and stuff, they're going to want you to put your stuff solely on YouTube. So, because you get more views, YouTube is the bigger platform. So you're talking about people's pay. You're talking about how people like me pay the bills, keep a roof over our head, put food on our table, feed our animals. This isn't just fun money that we're collecting. This is money that actually, YouTube is not a part-time job. It can't be a part. If you want to have a successful YouTube channel, it cannot be a part-time job. It has to be a full-time job. So if we're working full-time, then we need to be paid enough to be able to fund our life. And I'm not talking about fun money. I'm talking about basic bills. And so if you want us to try to sacrifice our YouTube channel for your laziness, that's also sacrificing our sponsorships in how we feed ourselves. So it just makes me, it's upsetting, because I'm like, these people call themselves truthers. They call themselves people of the light, but yet they're literally telling people like me to fall on the sword because they're lazy. Yeah. So I know I'm preaching to the choir, because most of you guys are super cool and you super understand, but I just wanted to make that very clear. And I wanted to let you guys know, again, there's going to be short form and there's going to be long form moving forward. Also, you guys, so moving on from that, again, before we move on, also make sure on YouTube, there's some comments I've had to delete, not because I wanted to delete them, but because you put words in there that could actually get my channel flagged. So I know that's not fair. I absolutely, that's not fair, especially since you're not a content creator and you're just having a conversation in the comment section. But unfortunately, they don't play fair over here. Right? So be very careful with the words that you're using in the comment section. Be very careful, because you could end up getting somebody's channel taken down. And that's some groovy karma that I would not want to have on me. And again, I know that should not be your responsibility, but you guys know what those words are. You're fully aware of what those words are. So just be very, 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 very careful. If I have to type in a word that I know is not liked by the system, I might, change out, like if I have an E in the spelling, I'll put a 3 or something. So you can still see what the word is, but it breaks it up for the algorithm, if that makes sense. So just be mindful of that, you guys. I know it's not fair, but we are in a war right now. So just be very, very mindful of what you're doing when you leave comments on people's YouTube channels. And if your comment disappears, if the content creator did take it down, it's because there was a word that could sabotage their channel. So just be mindful of that. All right, so moving on. Wednesday, I'm so excited, you guys, because over on either Aquarius Rising Africa or Solutions with Shanti, those are both of her channels. I'm not sure which one yet. It depends on what's going on with her channel, because she gets a lot of heat. We're going to be going live with Fancy from the Good Wives Club, Good Wives Network, not Good Wives Club, Good Wives Network. As she was here with me last week, because Shanti lost power, but it's actually super, super, super serendipitous that it happened this way, because some of you might know, we're going to go through like the HBO letter, and we're going to go through like the prosecutor and all that kind of stuff. But earlier this week or later last week, Dee Dee Blanchard's autopsy report was finally released to the public. And y'all, I don't know how they're going to continue to get away with this shenanigans. This hot mess. I mean, literally, we all have a ticket to the Hot Mess Express straight to Crazy Town with this Gypsy Rose Blanchard story, because the autopsy report from Dee Dee Blanchard is once again telling a very different story than what was told through the media, through Mommy, Dad, and Dearest, through Gypsy's Revenge, through the Lifetime reality show docu-series. And so I'm so excited. This is going to be, again, a live show. This is not going to be pre-recorded. It's going to be live. And so make sure that you are following both Solutions with Shanti and Aquarius Rising Africa. I will put those channel links down below, especially if you're new to this channel, so that you can keep up with which. Again, we might not know until the day, depending on what's going on with Shanti. Because Shanti, if you're new to this channel, my friend Shanti over at Aquarius Rising Africa, I film with her twice a week on Mondays and Wednesdays. She interviews mostly whistleblowers. All right. So with that being said, a lot of these whistleblowers are whistleblowing certain governments, and because of that, she gets a lot of issues with her channel, if you guys know what I mean. So sometimes when it's supposed to be a show on one channel, we have to put it on the other channel because something's going on, because somebody said something that got her shadow banned or got her struck. So just watch both channels. If you like stuff like conspiracies and this really dark occult stuff and really trying to figure out what's going on, you would love her channel anyway, especially the Aquarius Rising Africa one, because that's where she gets most of the whistleblowers over there. So I'm really, really excited about doing this with Fancy, because I think that there's going to be a lot of really great questions that we can kind of talk about, because Shanti has been dealing with this kind of stuff for years now with, not personally, but with her guest. And so just keep an eye on that, and you can ask your own questions in the live show. And yeah, the day of, so Wednesday, the 4th of September, just look at both channels to see which, you'll see the advertisement, and you'll know that's where, like, this, Fancy coming on at what, you'll see it. And so you can kind of know which channel it's going to be premiering on. So hope that makes sense, you guys. Anyway, I hope that you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful Labor Day again. I've got so many shows that I'm working on, guys. I really want to get back into a lot of the urban legends and conspiracies, kind of how I started. I mean, I love don't get me wrong, I love doing the deep dives, and we are going to continue to do the deep dives on some of these nefarious characters in our world and in our history. But I'm also, on top of that, going to be looking at some of these. I've got a list of urban legends and weird, paranormal, spooky stuff that we're also going to get back to and start looking at it, because that's just fun, and it also challenges our mind, and I think it gives a lot of comfort to people like myself who've experienced a lot of paranormal phenomena. It makes you feel like you're not alone. Oh, we're also going to be doing a bloodline show coming up real soon, you guys, so be looking out for that. And yeah, make sure, you guys, since it released earlier today, if you have not seen part 2 of our Jesse James deep dive, it's over on Gnostic TV. It's free. You don't have to pay for it. It's free. If you go to this channel, Esoteric Atlanta, and you look, I got the advertisement. So there's a little commercial. You'll see part 2. If you go in the description box, you can click a link, and it's going to take you directly to the full show over on Gnostic TV. And what part 2 is, you guys, is I did a full conversation with Jesse James' 2 times great-grandchildren, Dan and Teresa Duke, and their findings, which is so incredible, and it's right up our alley. They talk about the Knights Templar, all that kind of stuff. So that's over on Gnostic TV. Again, follow the link. It's free, totally free. And yeah, we're going to be doing more with them because they have so much information. Their years of researching their own family, and so I'm really, really excited about doing more with them. And tomorrow, again, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, short form on YouTube, long form on Rumble, over the occult and the witch wars of New York City that happened in the 1970s, you guys. And we're going to be talking about that more later on, with some deeper looks at some of this occult stuff. So anyway, you guys, I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will talk to you soon.